Hello, I'm Jim, and welcome to Rallying in America, the Recce podcast. This podcast is an exploration of a rich history, the stories and memories of those who made and make Rallying in America so great. Enjoy the show. Greetings. On this episode, I chat with Ethan Curtis, a driver competing in rallycross as well as a co-driver in stage rally. We talk about his rally experiences, champagne, mustaches, and what Ken Block means to him. Well, welcome, Ethan. Glad to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Happy to be here too. Appreciate you for having me.
Yeah. So, how are things going? Were you at the recent 100 Acre Wood rally?
I was not, unfortunately, at 100 Acre Woods. I had prior to commitments to. I'm racing the full season of the Northwest Rallycross Association. All those races for the Mod NA Championship. That's I've done that the past number of years.
Okay.
And have not won my class outright, so I wanted to give this year a real full shot again and do all 6 races and see if I can't win that. So,
great.
I was doing that this weekend out in Lind, Washington with them. My car lasted 4 runs of the 6, and my alternator died. But I was able to switch into a car that was kind of built as a tribute car to a fellow racer who lost their life recently. And I won my class. So first overall and then first in class. Okay, excellent. And to be clear, this is as a driver. This is as a driver, correct. Yeah. So I compete both as a driver and in rallycross currently, and then I am a current co-driver for stage rally.
Okay. So how long have you been doing rallycross?
Rallycross, I got into it kind of the later end of 2018. I was going out to events and was starting to meet people, and a buddy of mine invited me to drive his car at what was then the Dirtfish Rallycross Fest, which they still do, but they don't do the they were doing instruction portions where you could kind of bring your own car, and some of the Dirtfish instructors would hang around. Some of the other competitors would hang around, and you'd get, good seat time and good, feedback from, people who've been doing this a long time. And it really helped to kind of sort cars out and get, just more seat time learning, basic car controls and stuff, and something relevant and using your own car for competition, which they would follow up the next day. So you do instruction one day, race the next.
Oh, okay. Excellent. So you started that in 2018.
Yeah, started that 2018. I've been racing that pretty consistently ever since. I bought my own 93 GC Impreza that I started building up for that, through the help of a couple old friends, a couple people who I'd met, just through the sport. Guys like Stephen Red, Matt Turner, have to give them a shout out at Nameless. I went to high school with Stephen, so
excellent.
Knew him from at least a long ways back. And when he got into rally, I knew, it was good to reach out to him. Met Matt through that. Met one of my current drivers, Cooper, and his dad Brody through Rallycross, and so it's been just a good way to meet people within the sport and kind of also foster new people getting into it. It's a great grassroots, really low entry cost to competing, and it's fun to get people out. It's one of the few that you can actually have ride-alongs and give spectators rides.
Okay,
in your car.
Excellent.
So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's one of the kind of fun things. The competition's really good, but it's also just great to have fun and kind of share that passion with other people who are just getting into it.
Right. So when did you get into doing the stage rallies?
Um, my first stage rally was Oregon Trail of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Cooper Anderson and his dad Brody were getting into rallycross. They knew me through that, um, and at the time, Brody will say it and tell the story like
Mm-hmm.
he was getting uncomfortable with how Cooper was starting to gain speed, and he knew he was kind of holding him back as a
Mm-hmm.
co-driver, and wanted to pass him along to someone who could help Cooper grow his skills further.
Oh,
So
great.
um, they reached out to me. Being my first stage rally, they were super generous, and I was lent a suit, a helmet, basically all the safety gear that I needed to get into the first race. Um, helped me out with my license and all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and um, basically we're super supportive in that first race. Um, Cooper did really well, and I've stuck with them ever since.
Mm-hmm. That being said, you've also co-driven for a number of teams, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I'm currently working with four different drivers from around the country. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Cooper from Oregon being one, Henry Tabor from Oregon being another. But I've also worked with James Prisbylkowski out
Mm-hmm.
in Pennsylvania, close to you,
Yeah.
and Jess Davids out in Michigan.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah. So I think back in 2022, I met James and Ryan when I went up with a friend of mine to STPR,
Okay.
and so I've known James and Ryan a little bit. They're probably going to listen to this and say, "Why haven't you called us back?" But I'll definitely get. I'm going to actually schedule some time to drive down. They're only like an hour from me, so I got to get down there
Okay.
and interview them as well. So,
No, they're both awesome. They have a great shop, and
mm-hmm.
they both work on building their cars basically themselves.
Right,
They've now built the three cars out of their shop from the ground up, and you
yeah,
know, for amateurs, they've done a really really good job, and um, especially like as brothers, there's not many multi car teams actually running
right,
stage. It's fairly rare,
mm-hmm.
unfortunately, but they're one of the few, and they do a really really good job.
Yeah. So you did well with them. Was it 2023 at SCPR? I think.
uh, we did pretty good this last year. STPR, it's always that's a really fun event.
Yeah.
I've done that one for a couple of years now,
Yep.
and especially it being close to them too. It's basically their hometown event. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Um, but yeah, Wellsboro is awesome. Shout out to the Gaslight in downtown,
Oh,
in downtown Wellsboro.
yeah. I've yeah.
um,
We've been there,
it's
and like our first year there, I went. We took our two boys. A friend of mine. I took my son. He took his son, and we left him at the hotel and went to the Gaslight. And I think she was trying to close, the bartender. And we came in. We're like, we'll just have one beer. That's it, and we'll go. And then all of a sudden, several teams showed up, seeing that somebody was in there, and the poor girl probably didn't get home till really late. So, but yeah, the Gaslight's a lot of fun. So,
yeah, we that usually ends up being the place that will end our rallies at after everything's all done. But
yeah,
it's a good time.
yeah, it's a beautiful town too. So, speaking of Wellsboro, that's where I was impressed. I think it was 2023. I didn't go last year, so yeah, it was
Okay.
2023. I was pretty impressed with your champagne spraying skills. How you smacked that bottle on the floor of the pavilion there, and yeah,
Well,
good technique.
and I appreciate. I guess I can't. I guess I can't claim that. I'm just a big Formula One and subsequently Lando Norris fan. So
Yeah.
when I you know kind of saw my opportunity on my one of my first podiums to try it out, I tried it and it worked really well.
Oh yeah,
And
that was impressive.
it's worked all but one time so far for me.
It's interesting because I just recently, the other day, I watched a special. Well, it's called Barn Find Hunter, I think. It's Tom
Okay.
Cotter with Haggerty.
Oh
And
right, yeah.
and he went to the family of Dan Gurney. Let's talk about Dan Gurney and
Hmm.
his racing career. And I think he's the one that sort of started that trend of spraying folks with champagne. Because I think when he was driving for Ford, if I'm correct, in '67, he won Le Mans, and he shook that bottle of champagne up and started spraying, Ford
Yeah.
family and everybody, and they're like, "What in the world are you doing?" And I think he had that claim to fame. That's where it's all started. But yeah,
Yeah,
kind of digress. But
I think you got to kind of find your mark, and at least that's turned out to be mine so far.
well, you got the mustache too, though, right?
Yeah, it's usually good for about 5 horsepower, I say.
Well, you
Maybe
got to
that's the
give some
secret.
pointers to Connor Martell's. It's just not. It needs a little more pizzazz, I think.
Well,
Seeing
yeah,
his.
shoot it. I was just trying to follow Bryce a little bit because he has, at least in my opinion, the most legendary mustache in rally.
Okay.
But yeah, it seems Connor had a mustache here pretty recently. Travis had a mustache, so maybe
Yeah.
maybe they're just they're just thinking that's the little spice to success.
Right. Yeah. It's got to catch on a little bit more. Maybe I have a
We're
beard, but I don't have a mustache yet. But it's never.
yeah,
That's an easy fix, I think.
it's all coming back.
Yeah. So with your busy schedule with rallycross, what are your plans for this year in rally, and what rallies um, do you have planned, if any?
Yeah, so I'm still planning on doing quite a few rallies actually.
Hmm.
That was I think I've ramped from one rally in 21, four rallies in 22, six in 23, and it was up to 11 last year.
Oh wow. Okay.
So that was on top of I did four rally crosses, not quite a full schedule last year, but my goal this 25 is the
Hmm.
six rally crosses on top of I believe it's 11 stage rallies so
Oh
far.
wow.
So
Okay.
I kicked off the year at Snowdrift with Henry,
Hmm.
which unfortunately ended in a snowbank, but um,
Okay.
thankfully we weren't the only ones.
Right. Oh
it was
yeah.
it
That
was a
was a
tough weekend
tricky.
on everybody, but
Right.
and he's again 19 and very little experience in snow and everything for him is basically a learning experience
Oh
at this
yeah.
point. So um, to his credit, he did win
Hmm.
at least one stage, if not two, I think.
Oh,
So
excellent.
his performance and his
Great.
speed was still there. Just wasn't our weekend.
Hmm.
I'm set for a full season with Cooper Anderson. We're going to be doing the West Coast Regional event schedule, so that will consist of uh, Olympus Rally, Oregon Trail.
Hmm.
Um, let's see, Mike Nagel and Tour de Forest, as well as
Okay.
Colorado, I believe, is what we're adding
Yeah.
onto there to try to get most of that calendar. With the Prisbokowskis, we're hoping for we're doing STPR, Southern Ohio Forest Rally,
Excellent.
and I think Tennessee is on the table still. We did that
Okay.
last year, and that was a whole lot of fun. Um, I'm still in the talks with Henry for doing some more races this year, so just
Okay.
some kind of one-offs. We did Big White, excuse me, last year, which was a lot of fun. We might do that again, as well as Ojibwe last year, so we might do that as well.
Okay. Wow.
Um, and then I've been in talks with Jess for LSPR.
So you're going to do quite a bit of traveling, and you're based in Washington. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Washington
based
State?
out of based just out of Portland, Oregon, in Washington State,
Okay.
in Vancouver. Um, so travel a lot. I travel a lot for work too. But
Okay.
like I tell people, it really helps to, if you're going to do the traveling,
Yeah.
just invest in the pre-check and all that stuff for TSA.
Yeah,
It
right.
it, it genuinely does help. All my stuff when I travel, I carry on all my helmet and everything. That's another big, tip I tell
Oh,
people,
wow. Okay.
if you can, just yeah, carry on everything, like helmet included.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, you put on quite a few miles. It's amazing. Yeah, I
Yeah,
just
I haven't cashed out, but my miles are maybe not as strong as KJ's this last year, but they were they weren't bad.
yeah. And it sounds like you enjoy flying. I had asked a previous podcast guest, Stephen Harrell,
Yeah,
and
yeah, co-driver.
he travels quite a bit, and he enjoys the flying and that, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, I mean I mean, at least in my point of view, you get to see a lot of parts of the country that many people otherwise wouldn't be able to.
Hmm.
Um, and I've really enjoyed a lot of the kind of small corners of the country, like um, in Tennessee was a lot of fun. Southern Ohio is a lot of fun always.
Hmm.
I mean, Wellsboro's great.
Yeah.
So there's great little pockets, and the people are always awesome and love seeing the racing.
Yeah.
Come to their towns, and that kind of, again, that sharing of the passion and everything is I don't know, kind of what keeps me going, at least in the sport.
Right. So let's go way back. And what got you interested in motorsports?
Um, I guess it wasn't anything in just one thing in particular. I didn't grow up in a very uh, automotive or mechanical family.
Hmm.
It just kind of it came through, what like to watch on TV, which was motorsports and basically anything that went fast. If I was a kid, if
Hmm.
it went fast or made a loud noise, it got my attention. Um, so whether it was um, trying to go down to IndyCar races um, at PIR when I was a kid, that was a big thing back then.
Oh, nice.
I mean, of course, video games were just in their heyday in the early '90s, and getting hooked on stuff like Gran Turismo. I was, um, you know,
Yeah,
spending
great.
time on stuff like that. Of course, my parents, my dad. One of the few things we did have a Subaru.
Okay,
So
cool.
when he cut some cookies on the beach, and it's one of the few lasting memories of, like, these things that with four wheels that are basically just used for transportation. Oh, you can use them for
Yeah.
things beyond that, and
Right, right.
so that just kind of snowballs from there.
Okay. What was your first car?
My first car was a 2003 Subaru WRX, um,
Oh, nice.
which I got back. It was a couple years old by then, but um, it was early on when all the NASIOC forums were still going, and
Hmm.
so you're digging on early internet to figure out how these things work and how to modify them
Oh,
and
yeah.
make them go a little bit faster. When I got that in high school, and then early college, it
Hmm.
was most of our summers with my friends were spent going down to PIR, drag racing it. Um, Going through college, I started getting into autocross and stuff.
Fun.
Um, Oregon Trail, of course, has the spectator night at PIR, so we would
Hmm.
go down and watch that, and it was just always kind of in my peripheral, but just something I didn't feel at the time for me was attainable,
Right.
by any stretch of the means. So, at least for me, it's still kind of one of those things that it was always a dream to get into, but
Right.
I didn't see it happening. And a couple years ago, just was able to get a really lucky shot at it, and it's gone on from there.
Very cool. You did better than I did with my first car. Mine was a '87 Pontiac 6000 LE turd
Oh, I
brown.
mean, come on. I mean, that does sound great to me. I love weird stuff.
Oh, I do too. Yeah. I don't know if you heard in a previous podcast, but worked out a deal with a friend of mine. I'm getting a '64 Renault Dauphine, and it's like a Volkswagen Bug with 4 doors, rear engine.
Oh, yeah, no, I think I've heard of those before.
Yeah, and it's got a cool spare tire feature under the front bonnet. You open it up, the license plate section flops down, and then you pull the spare out of the front. It's like a big guppy pulling a tire
Those
out of its mouth.
are those French?
Yeah.
Am I,
Yep.
they're Reynolds, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
The Dauphine. So yeah. So I'm hoping to take that to the rally starting next year. I think that'd be fun. So
All
yeah,
right.
I
Well,
like
then
the quirky, odd stuff. I always have to.
and
So
you're gonna race that, or are you just gonna bring it and show it
I'm
off?
I'm just going to show it off. Put my sponsors on it or something, and I've had some suggestions that I actually do some recording in the back seat.
Okay, like a podcast, cars and coffee, rally and cars and
Right.
coffee. I
But
like
it'd be
that.
kind of creepy though. Say, hey, you want to get in the back seat and have a chat?
Yeah. Okay. Well, context is everything there, I guess.
Well, yeah. So yeah, it's quirky. It's fun. So
No, cool car, or at least weird cars, and rally do seem to go together.
they do.
I mean, I
Yeah.
know, like Garth Hankey's got that really cool old weird Saab and a
Hmm.
Starlet that he races,
Oh
and
yeah.
um, so yeah, they're all kind of quirky stuff. You love to see that.
Yeah. I
Subarus are
think.
great and all. I love Subarus. They have
Yeah.
their place. They're great. They're fast.
Yeah.
They're reliable. I love weird stuff.
Oh yeah, it was fun to see that a Super Beetle ran in 100 Acre Wood. That was kind of cool to see.
Oh, that orange one. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was great.
yeah, I forget what year it is, but yeah, it's kind of cool, and it's
I
great.
wasn't watching his times to see how he finished, but
Yeah, but I'm sure they're having a blast.
oh, 100%.
Yeah. So something a little more serious or somber. About a week ago, you went down to the Peterson Museum to see the Ken Block exhibit.
I did.
Yeah, how was that? Can you fill us in a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I mean to start off for context,
Hmm.
I was actually on the show a show called Octane Academy, which was a
Cool.
um, I'm not sure if you can call it, but basically a driver's search, talent search under the guise of a reality TV show put on by Ford.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
so they took applicants who were interested in kind of either they were race car drivers in some aspect or were interested in becoming one, and then they divided those applicants into four groups with different race car drivers. So it was Brian Deegan, Vaughn Gittin Jr., Tanner Faust, and Ken Block. So because of
Okay.
my application video, I mentioned rally and things like that. So I got put with Ken Block, um,
Hmm.
and we did filming in Park City, Utah for a week at both Snowbird and Miller Motorsports Park, or formerly known as Miller Motorsports Park.
Okay.
Um, and did filming there with Tim O'Neill came in. He had some of the Eurospec early Fiestas on hand that we did some just basic, slalom braking kind of maneuvers and training really quickly. And we rode snowboards up uh, at snowbird and
Wow.
all that kinds of stuff. And Ken
Mm-hmm.
had it was the new M Sport built HFHV, which was that kind of multi motorsport. It was supposed to do
Mm-hmm.
rally and gymkhana
Right.
and rallycross and all that stuff. And his buddy snowboarder Todd Richards was there, so
Oh yeah.
it was a full week. It was a lot of fun and just getting to know, um, kind of the inner workings of you know his interest in the sport and you
Mm-hmm.
know being able to just take the extra moments to ask questions that you wouldn't otherwise have access to, or at least
Right.
be able to look up in the car and stuff like you wouldn't otherwise be able to.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a lot of fun, and that kind of at least pushed me further to work towards um, giving back in the sport. Um, this past year in 2024, subsequently
Mm-hmm.
at the Olympus Rally, Cooper and I ended up finishing third overall in regional and second in our class,
Mm-hmm.
which was our best finish at that point. And we ended up winning the Ken Block 43 award.
Oh right. Okay.
Um,
Awesome.
so, so full circle back to, this past weekend, going to, or 2 weekends ago, going
Mm-hmm.
to the Peterson Museum. I I at least wanted to go early enough in the season where it wasn't so busy, um, to where I felt stressed going down there.
Yeah.
Um, but I took a full day, flew down in the morning from Portland to LA, went to the museum when it opened,
Mm-hmm.
took a full day walking around, got access to you can pay access to get to the vault, which is, I think,
Oh wow. Okay.
it's a little over 250 cars,
Wow.
and it's some of the most valuable and rare cars in the world.
Incredible.
And it's just kind of a special thing to go there, especially given it was my first time seeing stuff like the Gymkhana 1 Subaru, which was kind of one of those spears when I was I don't know, 17, 18, before I had bought
Mm-hmm.
that first WRX. That was one of those kind of first things that at least grabbed my attention and
Mm-hmm.
gravitated towards, or that I gravitated towards Subarus
Mm-hmm.
because of. So being able to see that in person, the Gymkhana 2 hatchback, hadn't seen that before in person. Being able to see the Unicorn for, some, at least most of the cars, arguably, being able to see them for the first and possibly the last time in my lifetime that I'll probably be able to, at least before they go into private collections and
Right. Right.
and
Right.
and that thing. Um, but for me, at least, Ken was a master tactician in marketing
Mm-hmm.
and creating, a business, or at least a company,
Right.
um, which he had a track record of. But at least for motorsports, he kind of brought into rally some things that necessarily weren't there before, like vinyl wrapping cars and tying merchandising to liveries and doing scheduled livery drops. And I mean, all
Mm-hmm.
these things that we take for granted
Right.
now and seem so commonplace. I was just watching the gigantic Formula One spectacle dropping the new liveries for the year, and
Yeah.
I can only think back to to Ken, who basically pioneered things like that for at least the rally industry,
Exactly.
but especially in the States. So he had a huge impact on our sport,
Mm-hmm.
in our country, and it I hope is going to be a lasting impact for generations to come. For me personally, being able to, they say don't meet your heroes ever, but
Right.
what I would say is probably that one exception to the rule. He was really humble. He was really passionate and really smart in in a sport that he basically knew that he, you know, had no reason being there. He got into it really late. He was what he would consider a gentleman driver.
Mm-hmm.
So all these things kind of culminated, and so he enjoyed being as good as he could be, and I think that's something that kind of resonates with everyone.
Yeah, definitely. When we met him back at SCPR in 2022, we started talking to him, and it was like, we've known him for years. I mean, he was that relaxed and just kind of chill, and pretty amazing. Like you say, sometimes you don't want to meet your heroes, but for him taking the time to talk to my son, and that was pretty big. So
yeah, I mean, again, he knew. I mean, he kind of understood that he had this opportunity to share something that he grew up with enjoying, and throughout his career he didn't again have that opportunity to jump on that. And when he sold DC, and again, Travis was the one who got him into it and said, hey, this is there's this school, you can come do this, and
I didn't know that.
Come race with me, it'll be fun. And
mm-hmm.
That turned into a multi-year, decade-long, whatever, huge rivalry. And
oh yeah, and his family became passionate about it as well. So
yeah, I mean, look what really he's created is a couple of monsters. Leah's doing really well, and it shows that some things are, I guess, the apples don't fall far in some aspects.
Yep, definitely in a good way. Yeah. I wish you the best of luck coming up. We got a real busy schedule. You've got rallycross and all these rallies to attend. And I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to sit down and chat and talk about rally. Just quick before we go, what your thoughts are on some of the growth and maybe the future of rally in America?
Yeah, no, I again appreciate you taking the time with me, Jim.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is all fun for me. Rally it's a long time passion. I love racing, and we're a small family in the end. So right. I love seeing the sport thrive and grow and survive, and I love the new things, coming up. I love the stuff that Lance is doing, and all the stuff that they're trying to do with focusing on more regional competitors.
Right.
I love the stories that are coming out of, a lot of these teams. Well, every team has a great story in the end.
Yeah.
So just being able to tell that more, I think, is really important within our sport. Again, I appreciate the good wishes on the upcoming season. We'll
absolutely, yeah.
Depending on when this episode comes out, we'll have some big news coming out for DTM Racing and Cooper and I for this next season.
Awesome.
So that'll be coming out shortly. If it hasn't come out by the time this episode drops, there's some clues out there. But
all right. Awesome.
It should be a fun season. Looking forward to having fun in Pennsylvania at STPR. It looks like they might be bringing back a special street stage or something in downtown.
I'm excited about that. The details
there might
will come
be some
out
special
soon,
things coming up for that. Yeah, looking forward to that. So everything, we'll definitely have to get a drink together at Gaslight if you're making it out to STPR this year.
Yeah. Oh, I'll be there. No question about it. As long as the Irish guys don't get there and drink everything first.
They are known of doing that as
They
we
are.
are as well.
Yeah. So very cool. Well, thanks again. I really appreciate it.
No, thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. Have a good rest of your night and take care.
If you'd like to be on the podcast, you can email me, jim@jimboothdesigns.com, or message me through Facebook at Rallying in America, the Recce Podcast, or Instagram, rallying_in_America. Special thanks to our sponsor for this episode, Brady Instruments, pro-grade, handmade, professional fuel hydrometers. Visit bradyinstruments.com for all of your fuel testing needs. And remember, don't be a fool. Check your fuel. Thanks to Toontank and the artist Nuclear Wave and their song In Drive for the podcast theme music.